Hey, I'm Billy Stokes. This is my journey of building our business, but without compromising the relationships with people I love. Follow along while I document my growth. This is all BS. From the first time recording this, I think the first time today. Anyway, I'm baby free. My strategy was he was stirring, and if he has a boob now, he will go straight back to sleep and minimal wake time. Like I did say though, he does love Dad's company, so I may or may not be back in here holding a newborn again, but we'll see. Nonetheless, so continuing on, it was really exciting. This thrill of we've got this property now on the cards, and I think one of the other things was then how do we navigate moving out? Because obviously, we were subleasing from that was all above board as well. We were subleasing from our sister-in-law who had her homewares shop, and and so part of the question for her was, well, what do you want to do here? Are you happy for us to move out? And we kind of already had our inkling. And yeah, certainly, she was totally fine with us moving out, And I think like one of the things that was a little bit disenchanting for us was we figured, like we were overseas and we saw all these collaborative businesses, especially brick and mortar businesses, very collaborative models. And we thought, well, that'd be really great to bring. And we could see, okay, well, coffee is definitely a good lead magnet for, you want people come every single day to your shop. Well, guess what? This is how you do it. You get them drinking coffee out the front. And, so we obviously we've not seen her books. We don't really know the ins and outs of her business, but it was certainly, there was unmet expectations, to say the least, in a lot of things. I think if we had our time again, we certainly, always, in hindsight's always 2020, but I think if we had our time again, we would have been a lot more clear on the expectations around shared spaces, the impact we have on each other's businesses. And I think there was, for some of our staff, there was certainly a lack of respect for her. And my mentality was that, we're in her space. Like, you make the rules, dude. Unless they're completely bogus, we're going to comply, and we're going to work with you because we're in your space. This isn't our space. This little pocket is our space. But if our space is affecting your space, well, guess what? And, and I know that she didn't want to tread on our toes and we didn't want to tread on her toes too much, but it was very much like she said, jump. I asked how high, and just things that you don't really anticipate. For instance, like coffee grinds create dust, and dust goes everywhere. And when you're in a business where, it's two different economic models. Like for us, it's about accuracy, consistency, and efficiency. And don't get me wrong, there's an element of like, you have to actually be, clean and all these things as well. Absolutely you do. But if we're not getting the coffees out in an efficient manner, we're not making money. So, so we would be messy, and she'd come in and open doors right at our peak, and it would just be messy and carnage, and it would affect definitely her business. And there was, I think there was a certain lack of respect that I had in that sense, where I was just like, dude, I don't care. We're in our peak right now. I'm not going to just, hide the bin bags and those sorts of things. But I think for her, in her business, her economic model relies on appearance. Is that, you're selling things for its homewares and home goods and dresses and clothing and these sorts of things. And it's like, well, that's all visually based. And if the space doesn't look visually great, people don't buy. So, and I think, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, dude, whatever. Like, this isn't important. Whereas in hindsight, and since the times I've spoken with her since, certainly, absolutely, now understanding the economic drivers of her business is to understand, well, actually, those were important and really should have had a lot more respect for them. So, so she was pretty keen to get her space back, which was unsurprising to us. But the thing that was surprising was that she was saying that there's no real tangible gain that she's seen in the business with our presence, and that was a bit of a hit to the ego. And we've since had conversations that have clarified that a little bit more. But certainly there were times where we were just going like, yeah, I think I'll park that there. Yeah, we certainly would have liked to have had a bit more of a meaningful change or meaningful impact in her business. But unfortunately, our time there working with her, unfortunately, yeah, we didn't have the impact we were hoping for. Obviously, I don't believe in a zero sum game. I don't believe that we win at someone else's expense. There's certainly enough. Yeah, even look like Jeff Bezos, but he's got this excerpt from an interview I remember watching. And everyone was freaking out about, like other competitors encroaching in their space. And he was saying, the retail market's big enough for a lot of people to succeed really well. And that's been my approach, man. Like coffee, man, you do some research. Something like 90% of Australians drink coffee on a weekly basis. You cannot get people to agree on religion and politics that much. And coffee is a religion. Coffee is the greatest political party that exists in Australia. So, yeah. So, I mean, we were certainly expecting to have a more meaningful impact on her business, and that was kind of the intention. So it was sad to get to the end and then find out that really we didn't have the impact we were hoping. And like I said, there's other reasons why we, in conversations we've had since, there's other reasons why that the impact to the business was kind of on the back of some other intangible things. But for the most part, it's that really there should have been a lot more clarity and a lot more communication between the two of us around, what's working, what's not. And so taking ownership of that, I think that, our shortcoming was not being more intentional with checking in and making sure things are okay. I think had we done that, then we probably would have had a better outcome. Well, when I say we, she probably would have had a better outcome with our presence there, which is obviously what you'd want. So getting out of the shop wasn't hard. That was really easy. It worked out really well. The trades, they just kind of came in and just disconnected the stuff they did 18 months ago. And or 2 years ago, whatever it was. No, it was about 18 months. Oh, no, sorry, no, it would be just under 2 years. Because that's right, we got the keys to the day. Was it to the day? It was listen, if it wasn't to the day, it was very, very bloody close. I've got a photo up on our Facebook page there somewhere, but where we got the keys to the property, like it's settled on the day. And so exactly 2 years. And that was exciting, so if I remember rightly, it was end of October. We we started this conversation. I think it was August, or and they were saying they wanted a quick sale, and it was just back and forth, and ended up I threw a fat wobbly, hey, because it was just like here's these people in there, and the sellers. When I say specifically, I mean the agent, just unprofessional in the sense that just constantly dropping the ball, and man, I threw a pretty big wobbly about it. And and it's funny, sometimes a squeaky wheel gets the oil. Hey, I hate being the squeaky wheel, but sometimes it works. And and then finally things came through, and we settled the property, which is just so relieving. So so here we were back again. We opened, I think, our first day of trade. I think that we had about 2 weeks or a week. I can't remember. We were trying to minimize. Obviously, you're trying to minimize it. You want to maintain your cash flow. So we had a bit of a cash float there, but we certainly. Oh goodness, it's getting late. There was a lot we needed to do. So we hustled to get everything moved in and fitted off, and the first thing that we did was we went in there and we were analysing the position of everything that they had. And one of the girls who works for us now, actually, she still comes back for the breaks and works with us, which is great. She used to work at Zaraffa's, And I was just saying, I was like, show me where everything was positioned. And she explained it to me. I was like, that just doesn't make sense. Like, it's just backwards and forwards and around and all. It just seemed like a really inefficient workflow. So the first thing we did was we installed everything, put everything in place, moved all the workflows around. Or, we had to cut holes in benches and all these sorts of things. And, and those are changes I'm certainly happy we made. Like, we read the play right on that, and cutting holes in a stainless benchtop, that's a dangerous move because it's expensive to replace. But by this time, we had a really efficient model from Hannan Street, the hole in the wall, that we knew worked. And so all we had to do was replicate that for 2 windows. And we did, and that worked well, So, I mean, we had a very... I had a lot of space. God, a lot of space. But what we worked out, sorry, before we go too far there, it was really clunky. Anything new is going to be really, really clunky. You can try and predict what's going to happen 2 times, 10 times, and you won't be able to have everything covered. I think if we were to go into the drive-through space again and we'd buy another drive-through or something, then yeah, for sure, we'd know what's coming next. But listen, for the most part, you don't really know. And so the only thing you can do is adapt fast and be able to be nimble and really, really quick. And so for the first 6 months, probably 7 months, that's all we did. It was just constant iterations, changing our ordering system, doing all these sorts of things. So just for context, we built our own POS system, online ordering system, because we couldn't find anything online to be able to do the full extent of what we wanted to do. And we're going to be paying like... Goodness me, you have to excuse my yawn, sorry. Just an exorbitant amount in subscriptions to try and, bolt all these different platforms together. And we're just going, you know what? If we're taking the business where we want to take it in the long run, it's better that we just build our own thing. So, yes, we had to work with our developer to adjust that for, multiple stations and all these different, new features that we were going to be adding. And, so that was, there was a lot. It was a lot of expenditure. And I think one of the things that I've noticed, that I've learned around the cash flow sides of something new, is that there's this initial bleed. God, you bleed. It's not even bleeding. It's it's hemorrhaging. You're just hemorrhaging money. But that probably does an injustice, because I think that the correct way to put it is it's just mass capex. Mass capex. Like, dude, we spent so much money. Like, we went and bought a cool room because the cool room was warranted. We put that in the shed. Had to upgrade the electrics. Had to do work, heaps of work on the bloody plumbing. Fuck, that annoyed the shit out of me. Just heaps of shit. Just spending money like hand over fist. But knowing that the sooner you spend that money, the sooner you get the return. And the return might come by way of like efficiency gained, but man, you make that money back so fast. So that's one of the things I've realized, like we've got enough gear in our shed to start a whole new cafe if we wanted to. We just need to buy a coffee machine. There's just so much gear there. And the benefit of that is that we've got all and the reason there's all this gear is because we keep experimenting with new gear. Something will come to the market and we'll buy it and try it because we can see that, theoretically, that there's the value there. And there's a few problems in the cafe world that people just haven't solved, but they think that they do. And they're always expensive. God, they're so expensive. I think that the sooner you spend the money on things you need to spend, the sooner you get the return. And it doesn't mean that you overextend. I think there's certainly a level of ensuring you're making the right decisions. But sometimes the sooner you spend the money, the better. And in this instance, we know we had to hit the ground running. We certainly need to be spending the money to get everything lined up, and we spent a shitload of money. We deferred like the BAS payment, so we had the cash sitting there and the whole lot. Like, we really just made sure we really maximized our cash buffer. So then we're up and we're trading, and I can't remember if we did the free coffee day. Do we do another free coffee day? We do one every year on our birthday. But I think we might have postponed that a little while, or maybe we did. Yeah, I can't really recall. But nonetheless, I remember it was so clunky, dude. I was just working some bullshit big hours. It was crazy, and it was madness. And so yeah, we were just working crazy hours. At this time, I had my brother working with us. I had him the intention. Well, this is what ended up happening was he became manager for that location, and so at the time though I was still managing, so he was just working in the team, and so obviously we had a few other people working with us as well. I'm just trying to piece it all together. Oh, that's right. God, that's right. So, unfortunately, this is a real big blow. This wasn't a decision that I wanted to make, but we had this one girl who worked with us for like 1 day or 2 days back on Hannan Street ages ago. She came and worked with us for a bit, and I hired her against my better judgment. Like my gut was telling me that I shouldn't, but I did. And we were working together for a bit, and I pulled her aside. I was just like, "Hey, listen, like, I know this is gonna sound really shit. I don't know why, but I just got this gut feeling that it's not gonna work between us." And whether she was actually telling the truth when she said this or not, but she said to me, she was just like, funny you say, like, I've kind of been having the same feeling, and I could see she was a little bit crestfallen, but she took it really well. She went and worked for another place, and then when we started up the new location, she came back to us and she said, "Hey Billy, like, would you be open?" And I've always got a lot of respect for someone who comes back, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a go. You certainly seemed like there's been a lot of like growth and maturity, and gave it a go, and just unfortunately it just didn't pan out. The Obviously nah, yeah, I won't go into details, but it wasn't the greatest of separations. There are a few things that popped up, and one thing I've learned now is that when things aren't working, you can see that things aren't working. Don't wait, get rid of it. Like, get rid of it. So that sounds so bad. You need to get people out of your team when you can see they're not going to fit. And that was kind of what happened. Like, we worked out really quickly within probably like a month or two. We were just like, no, it's not going to be a thing. So we had a conversation. I'll be honest, I could have been a lot more diplomatic about that. But there are a few things that really got under my skin, and I took them personally. And and to her credit, we still see her around. Like, I saw her just a couple of days ago. There was a fair in town. Took the kids to the fair, and we saw him. We were chatting, and and she's gone on, and she's found another place that she's doing quite well, and you know I certainly could have handled that a lot better. But to her credit, she was the bigger person then, and I still enjoy her company. That's the thing, as a person. Like, I think she's great. But yeah, it just yeah, yeah. That's one of the parts I regret. But yeah, nonetheless. So I don't regret my decision. I just regret how I went about it. Yeah. Certainly could have been a lot more tactful and kind, probably. So, so anyway, so we separated, and unfortunately, she was so good. Like, there was such a loss in the skills in the team when she left, and that really sucked. So, that just unfortunately meant more work, and sometimes I don't think any one person is above the team. I don't believe that. I think that if there's someone who's detrimental to the team, they shouldn't be there. You should never compromise an entire team because of one person's capabilities. The foundation has to be synergy with respect to like values and character and all these sorts of things, and then skills. Skills can be taught. This level, the values and the character can't be taught. That's the foundation. So even when we're hiring nowadays, that's what we hire on. And if I misread it and I'm proven wrong, then we want to try and address it straight away. I'm not going to make the assumptions. I definitely, I've learned to come from things from a very inquisitive perspective rather than judgmental perspective, because there's been plenty of times I've been proven wrong. But if we are proven right, yeah, then it's time for that person to go find a place that they're going to do better. And I think that it's the fair thing to do from, I don't believe in sacking unless someone is genuinely toxic. I don't believe in sacking, but I certainly believe in a conversation where it's very much like, man, like, you're not a good fit here. Everybody knows it, and you. So go find a place where you feel like you can thrive. I think like that's the more healthy conversation to have. So anyway, so we're up and running. We've got this property, and it's happening. And this is, and what we realized really, really quickly was that what we had on Hannan Street, the hole in the wall, it's a completely different business. This drive-through is nothing. It's not even the same. One of the things that we noticed straight away was this loss of connection that we had with our customers. And what the hole in the wall was this real melting pot, this really like beautiful environment where people would be able to like, we had people who were like owned companies worth tens of millions. And I know that sounds like a joke, but I kid you not, this is the God honest truth. And they'd be out the front sitting in our chairs with, a couple that's just moved to town looking for work, and, a dude that's on Centrelink, and someone who's like, middle manager. And dude, we had like, gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. Goodness me. Anyway, one of the CEOs for Northern Star, he would be sitting out the front, and you just get chatting to people, and the open environment in the shop just allowed people to come in, and you able to chat with them while you're making coffee and build this incredible rapport, and we just loved it. And then you go to this environment where the building and the design, it lends itself to a transactional relationship. And that was something that I really kind of didn't anticipate, and it really sucked. I really, it became something, a point of focus for us, that we had to be very intentional about making time to spend time when we get the opportunities to communicate and build rapport and do life with people at the window that we would. One of the things is we became very intentional about leaving the window open. So unless there's the elements, right? Open the window, you grab their order, you'd be chatting with them and these sorts of things, and while you're making a coffee, you're able to talk. And it's just funny because inside it's like a little echo chamber. It's really hard to hear stuff outside, but you can hear from outside. You can hear in really easy. So you had to be really intentional about communicating and keeping the rapport that you've built with people, and not from like a standpoint where it's like you're trying to make sure you keep that connection so that they keep coming back and giving you money. It's just, man, we just genuinely really, really, really love the people that we built these rapports with. And and I still see people around town all the time. Hey Billy, what's been going on? Right. It's really amazing. I love it. But that was difficult. It was really difficult to try and maintain this thing that we built as a cornerstone of our brand, and it was it was a natural flow and effect of who we are. Like, we are people who care, and that flowed into our customers. And I remember actually when we were on Hannan Street, and this is something that I found super interesting, was that we would jokingly, we just start saying to people, "Oh, I love you," "I love you," and after a while, it took customers a while to get used to it, but we just started doing it. It was hilarious. And then we started hearing around town like how much people actually valued that. And that I found really interesting, hey, because I'm like, people know that it's, they're coming to buy coffee. They're not coming to do, like, it's not an intimate relationship. They've literally just bought a coffee, and it's almost like a joke, like, "I love you." Like, who the fuck? What the hell? And yet there's this, people just love that. We found people who just would come and buy coffee, not drink it, just to come and catch up. And it's just like the power of connection is just so incredible, and And I think that kind of, in a sad way, kind of highlights one of the biggest needs in our society. Sure, bullshit, social media. Yeah, everybody wants connection. That's not connection. That's like saying, oh, everybody's hungry, so let's just give them fucking like twisties or some shit. It's not the same. That doesn't satiate. That doesn't give you what you need. You know, we're more connected than ever, and still just as lonely. More lonely. God, more lonely. You know, and so I think that there's this, if you can provide skill and this capacity to be able to connect with people and build that rapport in the relationship, well, man, that is a, you know, if we're going to look at it from a business standpoint, that is a competitive edge over everyone, and not exclusive to coffee. That is in absolutely every industry. If you know how to give a shit, you're good, man. You're good. So that was one of the hard parts about adjusting to the new location. And, you know, one of the things that we found really early in the piece was that we made a lot of money if we went out to customers and we got their orders. And I really dug my heels in for a long time, for quite a while, about this, because I didn't, like, I wanted things to be efficient, and I realized really quickly that it's a different model here. Similar, different. So what we did was we put up like QR codes all throughout the queue, so that people in their car could scan the sign and then order, and that would come through to the order. So if we have foresight, we're efficient, and I didn't want to have to, like, you know, have the additional cost of having to employ someone to go and, you know, just do that for a few hours. Because, and again, I don't want to say to someone, yeah, sure, come and work for me, but I can only give you 3 hours a day. It's pretty shit, and it's right in the middle of the day as well, you know. So it just makes it hard for everyone, and I really wanted to avoid that, and I pushed back for months and months and months, and, you know, we had regulars of ours just be like, hey dude, I'm coming, and it is like 20-minute wait, genuinely 20-minute wait. I'm like, I know. And what I was really hoping was I would, by making it hard for people to, you know, there's this big pain point. There's like, you're waiting forever. Great, don't wait forever by using this method that is right in front of your face, and it didn't get adopted. So, and again, this is the nature of business. You got to try shit. So, it did get adopted to some part, but not enough for it to be meaningfully impacting. So we ended up getting someone on board, having, you know, extra staff would come through, and they would go and get everybody's orders, and that was just their job. They would grab the iPad, go out to the queues, and they would just grab everybody's orders, and then we started getting quite efficient. Then, you know, that's when things started to heat up, and in a good way, So by this point, you know, we started realizing, okay, well, we need to start investing in some like food options. So, you know, for the first probably 6 or 7 months, we just tipped money into that place. Hey, like, just constantly money. But, you know, there was a lot of upsides to it as well. And it took us probably about, you know, I'd say close to 12 months before we really started getting to a point that we were like, all right, we're not spending as much money. And I remember there came a point where I just put my foot down. I was like, we're not spending any more money. Just put my foot down. I'm like, you know, there's got to come a point where now it's, you know, it's the 80-20 rule. We've spent the 80, you know, we've spent a lot of money to get the 80%. Now we're just trying to fine tune shit. I wouldn't mind actually making some money. Fuck, that'd be good. You know, so that's kind of the point we got where I was just like, I'm sick of like iterating and trying to, like, you know, or if we're going to iterate shit, we're iterating on stuff we don't have to spend money on. It's just the stuff we've already got. Like, let's work on those efficiencies. Yeah, but man, we spent so much money on equipment and, you know, yeah, just upgrading things and just, yeah. So where does that bring us to? Not quite present day, but not far off. Yeah. You know what? I might park it there for that episode. So that was, I guess, yeah, that was the start of, let's call it the start of Boulder Road. That'll be that. Enjoy.